Have you ever found yourself ticking all the boxes for outward success? Career goals met, accolades coming in, but there's still that sort of persistent inner hum of dissatisfaction, that feeling something vital is missing.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're perpetually chasing the next big thing, like a new diet, a new productivity hack, only to find yourself back where you started a few weeks later, feeling like you just can't keep those fundamental promises to yourself.
It's common.
These aren't just minor annoyances, right? They're the kind of deep, often frustrating challenges that quick fixes rarely seem to touch.
Exactly.
So today we're diving back into a truly foundational text on personal and interpersonal effectiveness. We want to move beyond those surface-level techniques and really explore the profound inside-out approach to lasting change.
Yeah, and our mission for this deep dive really is to revisit this core idea that genuine, sustainable transformation isn't just about, tweaking our behaviors or adopting new attitudes on the surface. Instead, it's rooted in a fundamental shift in how we actually see the world, what the author calls a paradigm shift. We'll explore why confronting and adjusting these internal maps is the critical first step. It's key to unlocking true effectiveness, both personally and, in our relationships too.
Right.
It's really about recognizing that many of the problems we think are out there, well, they often originate from our paradigms in here.
It's so easy to fall into that trap, isn't it?
Yeah.
When faced with something frustrating, say your child is struggling or you're feeling constantly overwhelmed at work, the first instinct is often to look for an external fix, a new strategy.
Always looking outward first.
Yeah. The author shares this really powerful, very relatable story about his own son struggling with baseball. He and his wife tried, everything. Pep talks, technique pointers like hands higher on the bat,
Right.
even telling off other kids for laughing.
Yeah, I remember that example.
But nothing worked.
Yeah.
The son just cried, totally convinced he was no good.
And what's so insightful about that story, beyond just the anecdote itself, is the aha moment it triggered for them.
Right.
They realized that despite all their well-meaning actions and words, the underlying message they were really communicating to their son was basically, you aren't capable, you need protection.
Yeah.
And that perception, their paradigm, was the actual barrier. And this just highlights the crucial point. If you genuinely want to change a situation, you often have to start by changing yourself. And that begins with changing your own perceptions, your own paradigms.
It really hammers home that concept of a paradigm, which, the author illustrates so brilliantly with that map analogy.
The map, yeah, classic.
We might have a map, sure, but if it's the wrong map, say you've got a map of Detroit, but you're actually trying to navigate Chicago, well, no amount of effort or positive thinking or even driving faster is going to get you to your destination.
Nope. You'll just get to the wrong place more efficiently.
Yeah.
Maybe faster.
Exactly. You'll be lost, but very efficiently lost.
Right. And the real challenge isn't just knowing you might have the wrong map. It's recognizing that the lens you're seeing the world through, the map you're using, is often kind of invisible to you.
Okay.
It's not just about what you see, but the lens itself shapes how you interpret everything. It's like Thoreau said, it's about striking at the root, not just, hacking at the leaves of attitude and behavior. And for a knowledgeable audience like ours, the deeper question maybe is, how often do we think we're striking at the root, but we're actually still just trimming leaves because we haven't really examined our own lenses?
That's a great point. That distinction between the visible leaves and the unseen root. It brings us to that big historical shift the author noticed.
Right.
He argued that for, centuries, success literature really focused on what he called the character ethic. Those foundational qualities like integrity, humility, courage, justice. Think Benjamin Franklin's autobiography, right?
Yeah.
Deeply rooted in building those virtues.
Absolutely. Foundational character.
But then, he says, after World War I, there was this noticeable pivot towards a personality ethic.
Yeah, a huge shift. Success became less about who you were internally and more about, public image, attitudes, behaviors, techniques. What he called social band-aids.
Social band-aids, yeah.
We're talking about those popular ideas like, your attitude determines your altitude, or even some manipulative tactics sort of disguised as human relations skills.
Okay.
Now look, these skills, communication, positive thinking, they aren't inherently bad. In fact, they're often vital.
Sure.
But they are secondary traits. The real danger pops up when they get detached from a solid core of character.
Right.
If your character is perceived as fundamentally flawed, maybe insincere, then even the best human relations techniques are just going to be seen as manipulative.
Makes sense.
Emerson summed it up perfectly, didn't he? What you are shouts so loudly in my ears that I cannot hear what you say.
Wow.
It's like trying to cram on a farm. You can't just ignore the whole planting and growing season and then expect a harvest in the fall. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
There are no shortcuts to genuine mastery, only these kind of natural laws governing the consequences. You reap what you sow.
That no shortcuts idea is so critical.
Yeah.
So, okay, how do we measure true effectiveness then?
Yeah.
Beyond just those immediate, often superficial results.
Yeah.
The author gives us that brilliant metaphor, right? The goose and the golden egg from Aesop's fable.
Ah, yes. The goose and the golden egg, a classic for a reason.
The farmer, impatient for more gold, kills the goose, only to find out, oops, he's destroyed his future production entirely.
Exactly. It illustrates the PPC balance so clearly. P stands for production, the golden eggs, the results you want.
Okay.
And PC stands for production capability, the goose itself, the asset that actually produces those eggs.
Got it. P and PC.
So, true effectiveness, long-term effectiveness, is all about maintaining that balance. If you neglect the goose, PC, you eventually lose the golden eggs, the P. What's often overlooked, though, is how subtly and consistently we can fail to apply this, especially when the PC, the asset, isn't as tangible as, say, a lawnmower or your bank account principal.
That's exactly it. Like if you're running a lean startup, for example, every golden egg feels absolutely critical for survival right now. Urgent. So how do you practically prioritize feeding the goose, investing in systems or employee well-being or that long-term vision without feeling like you're falling behind on the immediate production demands?
Well, it really comes down to a fundamental paradigm shift, moving away from a scarcity mindset towards, an abundance mindset.
Okay.
Think about a marriage, for instance. If partners are only focused on getting their needs met, chasing those golden eggs, and they neglect the relationship itself, the goose.
The PC.
The PC, exactly. They stop investing in those crucial little kindnesses and courtesies. And over time, the love, the richness, the spontaneity, it all starts to deteriorate. The goose just gets sicker day by day.
Yeah, you see that happen.
Or in an organization, remember the example of the restaurant. The one that watered down its fantastic clam chowder for a quick profit boost.
Right, the P?
They got the P, yeah, maybe an immediate bump, but they quickly lost customer trust and loyalty, the PC. And eventually, it destroyed the business. The principle holds. You really must treat your employees exactly as you want them to treat your best customers. It's a testament to that long-term thinking that really defines true effectiveness.
So this whole journey, it really starts from the inside, doesn't it? It's about personal growth, moving us from dependence, where we're kind of acted upon by circumstances or other people.
Yeah, reactive.
To independence, where we become self-reliant, we can act intentionally. This fundamental shift, taking charge of ourselves, is what the author calls the private victory.
And at the very core, the absolute heart of independence is proactivity. It's that uniquely human thing, self-awareness, the ability to actually think about our own thought processes.
Right.
It means recognizing our responsibility, our ability to choose our response to any given stimulus, rather than just being dictated by external forces or feelings.
Okay.
Now, many people intellectually get this, but the real challenge is consistently applying it.
Sure.
Take that powerful example he gives of the man whose marriage had just gone flat. He's saying, the feeling isn't there anymore.
Yeah, I remember that. It's bleak.
It is, but the advice he received was simple yet profound. Love her.
Yes, love her.
Yeah, because love is a verb. The feeling of love is often the fruit, the result of the act of love. Things like sacrifice, listening, empathizing, appreciating, affirming.
Okay. Action first.
It shifts you from being a passive recipient of feelings to being an active creator of them.
It's so easy, though, to get caught up in the haves, if only I had a better boss or if only I had more time.
Oh, absolutely. The external focus.
But what you're highlighting is that shift to the B's, I can be more patient, I can be more understanding. That's where the circle of influence comes in, isn't it?
Precisely. Proactive people focus their energy, their time on their circle of influence, the things they actually can do something about.
Okay.
Reactive people, on the other hand, tend to focus on their circle of concern, all those things they worry about but have basically no control over.
Right. Politics, the economy, other people's choices.
Exactly. And the insidious part is, the more you focus on what you can't control, the smaller your actual influence becomes. It shrinks. Right. But by working on the base, working within your circle of influence, you literally expand it. even when you make a mistake, and we all do, right?
Of course.
A proactive approach isn't about denial or blaming others. It's about acknowledging it instantly, correcting it if possible, and crucially, learning from it. That's how a failure literally transforms into a success. You turn it into fuel.
Okay, so once you're operating from that proactive space, taking charge of your own responses, you can actually start leading your own life with intention. And this brings us to the second habit, which the author frames as first creations. He makes the point that all things are created twice, first mentally, then physically.
It's the foundational principle of any kind of purposeful creation, really. Think about it. You wouldn't start building a house without a blueprint, right? Without a clear vision of the finished structure.
No way. Chaos.
Yet, how many of us try to build our lives without that clear mental creation, without something like a personal mission statement?
Guilty, maybe.
This distinction really highlights the difference between leadership and management. Leadership, he says, is primarily a high-powered right brain activity. It's about envisioning the right jungle to even enter.
Okay, the vision.
While management is more the left brain activity, the breaking down, the analysis, the sequencing, the efficient movement through that jungle.
Efficiency.
Many people are excellent managers of their time, their resources. But they might be managing themselves super efficiently towards a destination they haven't actually consciously chosen.
Climbing the ladder, but it's leaning against the wrong wall.
Exactly that. And the real challenge is that taking the time to say, write a personal mission statement, to truly lead yourself first. Well, that often feels like one of those quadrant 2 activities we should talk about next. Important, but maybe not screamingly urgent.
Right. And with that personal blueprint in hand, once you've clearly envisioned your life's purpose and direction, the third habit is where the rubber meets the road. But first things first.
Yeah.
This is the physical creation, the day in, day out execution.
Yeah.
It's about exercising your independent will with integrity, actually doing what you decided was important.
The profound insight here, and honestly where many people stumble, is understanding that effective personal management isn't really about managing time. It's about managing ourselves.
Okay, managing ourselves.
And at the heart of that lies prioritizing what he calls quadrant 2 activities. Those things that are important but not urgent.
Important but not urgent.
These are the crucial activities like building relationships, long-range planning, exercise, preventative maintenance, or, yes, writing that mission statement we just talked about.
The things that build capacity.
Exactly. They are often neglected precisely because they don't scream for immediate attention like the urgent crises and deadlines of Quadrant 1.
Or even the urgent but unimportant stuff in Quadrant 3.
Right. He shares that example of the shopping center managers who completely transformed their results.
Yeah.
By shifting their focus away from just fighting daily fires towards genuinely building relationships with their tenants. That was a Quadrant 2 activity, important but not urgent, and it had a massive long-term positive impact.
So the trick then is finding the time, or maybe making the time, for those Quadrant 2 activities amidst the relentless demands of Quadrant the first and, like you said, Quadrant 3.
Absolutely. And to consistently make time for Quadrant 2, you need, as he puts it, a bigger yes burning inside.
A bigger yes.
That yes to your own deep values and goals allows you to confidently say no to the urgent but often unimportant demands of others, or even just less important activities.
Okay.
That's where your personal mission statement becomes your compass again, guiding your priorities, helping you filter requests. The difficulty isn't usually in knowing what's important.
Right.
It's in consistently choosing it over what feels urgent, especially when that means saying no to someone else's urgent request. That takes courage.
Okay, so once we've achieved that private victory, mastering ourselves through habits 1, 2, and 3, we then have the foundation needed for truly effective interdependence.
Yeah.
Building those rich, enduring relationships.
Yes, the public victory.
And the author emphasizes that the most important ingredient we bring to any relationship isn't just what we say or do, but fundamentally what we are. Our character, our personal integrity, that's what really shines through or doesn't.
This is beautifully illustrated by the concept of the emotional bank account. Think of it like a trust fund in a relationship.
Okay.
Every act of courtesy, kindness, honesty, keeping commitments, those are deposits. They build trust, they build the balance, and that high balance allows for occasional withdrawals when mistakes inevitably happen. We all make them. Conversely, things like disrespect, ignoring someone, breaking promises, betraying trust, those are major withdrawals. They deplete the account, and pretty soon you're walking on minefields in that relationship.
Yeah, that's a vivid image.
And what's often underappreciated is his point that every P problem is a PC opportunity.
Say more about that. P problem, PC opportunity.
Instead of viewing a relationship issue, a problem with production, P, as just an irritation or something to fix quickly,
Mm.
we can see it as a chance, an opportunity to make a substantial deposit in the emotional bank account, to actually strengthen the relationship's production capability,
Hmm.
PC.
Oh, okay.
It's like parents seeing a child's problem not just as something to be solved, but as a moment to connect, to understand, to deepen the bond, build that PC.
Building on that high level of trust, that full emotional bank account, we then get to what the author calls the single most important principle in interpersonal relations. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood.
So crucial. Foundational for communication.
It's something we often think we do, but maybe we don't really. We're so often what he calls autobiographical listeners.
Yes. We listen with the intent to reply, not to understand.
Exactly. We evaluate, we probe with our own agenda, we advise based on our experience, or we interpret through our own filters. Rather than genuinely trying to get inside the other person's frame of reference, we don't give them what he calls psychological air.
And that's the core challenge, isn't it? He argues the greatest need of a human being is psychological survival, to be understood, to be affirmed, to be validated, to be appreciated.
Psychological survival.
Wow. When you listen with true empathy, really seeking to understand without judgment, without jumping to give advice, you provide that essential psychological air.
Okay.
The real estate deal example he gives is perfect. The deal was on the verge of collapse, frustration everywhere. And the salesman, instead of just pushing his agenda harder, paused and simply said something like, let me see if I really understand what your position is and what your concerns truly are.
He stopped selling for a moment.
Exactly. And by genuinely seeking to understand and then reflecting back the client's needs and feelings accurately, he made a massive deposit in that emotional bank account. That act unlocked the solution, and the client closed the deal.
Amazing.
It's the diagnostic principle of a good doctor, right? You diagnose before you prescribe. But in our fast-paced world, most of us are constantly jumping straight to prescribing solutions based on our own limited perspective.
Diagnose before prescribe.
Okay.
And when we combine all these elements, a proactive character, habit 1, a clear personal vision, habit 2, disciplined execution, habit 3, high trust from the emotional bank account, and that deep empathetic understanding, habit 5, we open the door to habit 6, synergy.
Yes.
Synergy, this idea that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, where, 1 + 1 = 3 or 4 or even more. It can feel almost magical when it actually happens.
It can feel that way, but it's not magic. It's the natural outcome of genuinely respecting and valuing differences.
Valuing differences, not just tolerating them.
Precisely. The essence of synergy is to see differences not as threats or annoyances, but as opportunities. It's about building on diverse strengths and compensating for weaknesses to create entirely new alternative, a third alternative that's often better than what either person brought to the table initially.
Okay.
The difficulty, of course, lies in having the humility and the security, that private victory foundation, to truly suspend your own certainty, your own agenda, and genuinely search for that third alternative together.
Right, letting go of being right.
Exactly. Think about that couple planning a family vacation. One wants rugged camping, the other wants to visit family. A compromise might be a shorter trip, doing a bit of both, leaving both slightly unhappy.
Yeah, the typical compromise.
But synergy means they seek first to understand the why behind each desire, the need for nature, the need for connection. Then they collaborate to find a solution, like maybe camping near grandma's house. It satisfies both underlying needs in a new, potentially more fulfilling way.
Ah, the third alternative.
It's a profound shift from that either win-lose mentality to a creative and/or win-win approach.
Okay, so to keep this entire process thriving, to continuously improve and not burn out, we arrive at the final habit, habit 7, sharpen the saw.
Yes, the habit of renewal.
This is about balance, self-renewal across 4 crucial dimensions. The physical, exercise, nutrition, stress management, the spiritual, connecting with your values, your conscience, maybe meditation or nature, the mental, reading, learning, writing, planning, and the social-emotional dimension, building relationships, service, empathy, basically practicing the other habits.
And the author stresses that these are all interconnected. Neglecting even one dimension will eventually negatively impact all the others. You can't sustain high performance in one area if others are falling apart.
It's like maintaining the goose, right? Back to PPC.
Exactly. Sharpening the saw is investing in your PC, your personal production capability. It's a powerful reminder that we are our own most important asset, and continuous maintenance, continuous renewal is absolutely non-negotiable for long-term effectiveness.
So how do we do that practically?
Well, he strongly recommends what he calls a daily private victory, carving out at least 1 hour every day for renewal activities across the physical, spiritual, and mental dimensions.
An hour a day. Wow.
It sounds like a lot, but the argument is that the investment pays huge dividends in energy, focus, and resilience. The challenge, as we discussed with Quadrant 2, is consistently making time for this important but not urgent activity.
Right. It's easy for that hour to get squeezed out.
It is, and many people, myself included sometimes, often let the social-emotional dimension of sharpen the saw slide first. We get too busy for deep connection or service, but that then depletes our capacity in the other areas too.
It's a cycle.
Ultimately, these habits aren't just a linear checklist you tick off. They form an upward spiral of growth and change, with each habit reinforcing and strengthening the others. Learn, commit, do. Learn, commit, do. Over and over. An upward spiral. This whole process is definitely not a quick fix. It's a continuous, lifelong journey of inside-out transformation.
And woven throughout this entire framework, maybe one of the most powerful and hopeful concepts is the idea of becoming a transition person.
Ah, yes. Very powerful.
This means you can consciously choose to stop negative patterns or scripts, bad habits, harmful beliefs, dysfunctional communication styles that might have been passed down through your family or culture for generations. You don't have to just transfer them automatically to the next generation or into your own future.
Right, you become a link breaker.
Yeah. The example of Anwar Sadat, who made that incredible shift to pursue peace, changing the very fabric of his thought, as the author puts it.
Yeah.
It's incredibly inspiring. It shows the potential.
It truly is. It's maybe the ultimate expression of proactivity in applying this inside-out philosophy. You take responsibility for your own script. And it extends beyond just our own lives, too. We can also consciously or unconsciously script others. We can reflect back to them a clear, undistorted vision of themselves, affirming their potential, their strengths, their worth.
Like holding up a better mirror for them.
Exactly. Remember Dulcinea from Man of La Mancha? Don Quixote saw her potential, not just her current reality. Or even those real-world school experiments where teachers' expectations, even when based on false information, created self-fulfilling prophecies and profoundly impacted student performance.
Wow. Our paradigms about others have immense power.
They really do. And choosing to see their potential, to believe in their goose, their capacity for growth, that can be transformative for them and for the relationship.
So recapping this deep dive, from recalibrating our personal maps or paradigms to embracing that vital PPC balance, to mastering ourselves through proactivity, beginning with the end in mind and putting first things first.
The private victory.
The private victory, yes. And then truly connecting with others through deep, empathetic understanding and seeking synergistic third alternative solutions.
The public victory.
It all seems to circle back again and again to cultivating our character, working from the inside out.
It really does. And maybe consider this final thought. Real happiness and lasting influence rarely, if ever, come from desperately trying to change what's out there, trying to fix your circumstances or control other people's behavior, or even erase the mistakes of your past. Instead, as the author quotes, the fountain of content must spring up in the mind. Our greatest, most enduring power lies in becoming profoundly responsible, choosing our response, choosing to work on our own being, our own character, our own paradigms, in order to powerfully and authentically influence everything and everyone around us.
That's a powerful place to end. So the question for you listening is, what one small step can you take today, maybe this week, to look inside out and begin or continue your own upward spiral of growth? We challenge you to explore that this week.